Hello and welcome to Herald TV News at 3 with me, Tasleem. Farmers and villagers will perform Jal Andolan at Bailpur by standing in the river on May 1st. They are demanding that the government stop the work of pump house at Bailpur river bank, which will divert their water. The decision was taken after the concerned authorities, including police, failed to stop the project work even after the Panchayat had issued stop work notice.
Farmers and villagers of Bailpur have decided to hold a protest on May 1st. They are demanding that the government stop the work of pump house at Bailpur river bank. Water, which is the right of the villagers, is being diverted to corporate projects, they allege.
जो पंप हाऊस बसोवन आमचे शेताचे आणि अख्ख्या पेडण्याक जे प्लांटाद्वारे ते सप्लाय करता उदक, ते उदक आयज डायरेक्टली ते कॅनलात सोडटा. परत दुसरें म्हटल्यार ते बेकायदेशीर काम करता अशें हांव तेका म्हणटा. जर ते पंचायतीची तेणी एनओसी सुद्दां घेतलेली ना आहा, पंचायतीची एनओसी न आसतना तेंच्यांनी ते काम चालू केल्लें आहा. ते पंचायतीन तेजे स्टॉप ऑर्डर काडले तरी आसून ते बंद जावंक ना. तेका लागून आमी हे आंदोलन 1 मे 11 सकाळी स्टार्ट करतले. जल आंदोलन करतले, न्हय देवान आमी रावतले. अशा प्रकारे ते उग्र आंदोलन करतले आमी. आयज कित्याक अख्ख्या आमच्या गोंयकारांक कळोंक जाय की आयज मोपा एअरपोर्ट आहा, ह्या मोपा एअरपोर्टाक लागून हे काय गोष्टी घडत आहात. त्या गोष्टींक लागून आमकां हो फुडें भरपूरच त्रास जावपाचो आहा. आमचे जमनी तेंच्यांनी घालेले आहा. जमनी घेतले तेचेर आमकां व्यवस्थित रित्या आमकां तेंच्यांनी रेट पासून दिल्लो ना. दुसरें म्हटल्यार आमच्या झाडांची कत्तल केल्ली आहा.
ती सद्याक तर तांकां न्हू जे खुटवळ एरिया आसा पण ती बाकीची सगळी एरिया सरावंडींग एरिया आसा तांकांच सद्या आतां पाणी पावना. आनी तरी आसतना ते थंय डॅम बांदून आतां जे पाणी व्हरपाक जे फुडें जे व्हरपाक सोदतात ते कशा रितीन व्हरतात तेंच्यांनी अजून काय ते रिप्लाय काय दिनात. पण तरी आसतना ते बाय फोर्स व्हरतात ते पाणी. तशें जर पाणी व्हरतात जाल्यार सगळ्यांनी म्हाका दिसता जे सरावंडींग एरिया खुटवळ म्हणा, हळण टळण म्हणा किंवा कासारवणे म्हणा, चांदेल म्हणा, हे जे गांव आसात ते जवळ जवळ म्हाका दिसता आनीक 5-6 म्हयन्यांनी जे तेंच्यार इतली टंचाई येतली. सद्याक तांकां टँकरांनी जे उदक सप्लाय करचें पडटा. हे इतले डॅम आसतना इतलो लागीं अर्दो किलोमिटर सुद्दां जर हे पंप हाऊस ना तरी आसतना हे तांकां टँकर धाडटात. जर टँकर धाडून सुद्दां जर पाणी अशें जर इतल्यान हें करता जाल्यार फुडल्या जी 6 म्हयन्या भितर ऑटोमॅटीक सगळ्या लोकांक कळटलें की हें खरोखरच हें उदीक सगळें नश्ट जावपाचें आसा. इवन ते उदीक नश्ट जातलेच आमकां खंयचें वेळ उदीक ते हाडून आमकां सप्लाय करतले आनी आमकां त्रासांत घालतले हे नक्कीच जाल्लें आसा तेंचे. तेका लागून आमी मागता की आमी जे 1 तारीख जे थोडेशें आंदोलन करूंक सोदता आनी खरोखर ते न्हय देंवन आमी पळयतले जे कशें कितें उदक हें करता.
Is Tourism Minister thinking of promoting Goa as high-end tourism destination? Tourism Minister Rohan Khaunte, along with Union Minister of State for Tourism Shripad Naik, held a meeting with Union Tourism Minister G. Kishan Reddy on attracting high-end tourists to Goa by developing infrastructure such as oceanarium, golf courses, etc. For this, there is need for a consultant, Khaunte said.
Is Tourism Minister thinking of promoting Goa as high-end tourism destination? Khaunte talks of attracting high-end tourists to Goa by developing infrastructure. Khaunte also stressed the need to make Goa a safe destination.
Tourism मंत्र्याकडे उलयतकर the whole thing is if we need to change our base of what we are talking about and a roadmap, we need to ensure that we have the right people on board and the right thought process coming in. आम्ही इंडलँड म्हणले, मेडिकल म्हणले, एडवेंचर म्हणले, lot of things we need to put across आणि ताच्या खातीर सेफ and clean Goa म्हणजे आमकां एक मेसेज दिवची पडटली who are coming to Goa as tourists are finding them safe and they're finding them clean. It is not only the question of beaches, it is the whole Goa which we need to look at. And ताच्या खातीर as we take things ahead, we need also to understand what the high quality tourists are coming down or what they would be coming down for what requirement. ते गोंया येतले जाल्यार कित्याक येवंक जाय आनी ताच्या खातीर कसलो इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर तयार करपाक जाय हे हाजेर आमी भर दिवचो पडटलो. whether oceanarium concept, whether golf course concept, whether different विचार भरपूर असतात which attract high quality tourists. they come here for adventure, but adventure जाल्यार safety standards दिवचे पडटा. So there are a couple of things which we need to work on. ताच्या खातीर एक बरो consultant, maybe of a global standards is required to come in and pitch and tell us what we need to think about carrying things ahead. आता हे समज विचार आयले जाल्यार आमकां सपोर्ट जाय पडटा. Financial support from the center, which we would need to carry this type of things ahead. So we have discussed in detail how we can, in terms of nautical tourism, or what I have spoken earlier, how we can look at more avenues to attract high-end tourism. And the infrastructure support कितें जाय पडटलो, we have spelled it out. The Honorable Minister Tourism, along with Sripad Babu, have been very positive.
Story by Devendra Gaonkar for Herald TV.
It's a matter of pride for Goa after first Goan brother-sister duo Katya and Dane Coelho won the gold in the windsurfing championship in the second Asian Games trial held recently in Goa. The last selection will be in Mumbai. The duo had been training rigorously for the upcoming championship, has demonstrated excellence, achieving gold medals. Sea appears to be their second home and spending long hours of hard training in their quest to be champion windsurfers.
Goan brother-sister duo Katya and Dane Coelho won the gold in the windsurfing championship. This is the second Asian Games trial and the last trial will be held in Mumbai. The duo has been training rigorously and achieved excellence by winning gold medals.
This was actually the second Asian Games trial that we had in Donapal, just concluded a few days ago, and I managed to win the championship, making me the national champion and also putting me ahead in the points for the Asian Games selection. So we have the last selection in Mumbai in a couple of weeks, and if everything goes right, I'll be selected to be the only Goan to have gone to the Asian Games for the second consecutive times.
So it feels really good after winning the nationals. The IQ foil class is the Olympic class for windsurfing now. We've changed from windsurfing to wind foiling, and I consider myself very lucky that I got to try this sport out, and it feels good to win. So the difference between windsurfing and wind foiling is basically the foil. It has a much bigger foil than the normal windsurfing boards just have a fin. So in this, you're not just gliding over the water, you're actually flying over the surface. Next in line, I have the nationals in Mumbai coming up, which is next week. So I will be traveling there, and after that, that is also the selection trials for the Asian Games, and I hope to get selected there.
And it was a great racing. Unfortunately, this was the selection trials for the Asian Games. We had two. This was the third one, which Dane has been dominating with 9 points ahead. And he's the only civilian who is fighting against the 3 Army yachting node. But the fight is between the two. Is Dane and Ali. So the competition has been difficult for him because he have to fight once against the 3. No doubt, they are the only 2 participants who are into the ranking events, and to prove who are the best of our country.
Freddy Fernandez for Herald TV.
A total of 109 olive Ridley turtle hatchlings were released into the sea water in Morjim on Friday. 4,127 olive Ridley turtle hatchlings have been released in the Arabian Sea at Morjim Beach since December 2021. In the month of April alone, 126 turtle hatchlings were released in the sea. Morjim Beach is one of the protected sites for olive Ridley turtle.
109 olive Ridley turtle hatchlings were released in the sea at Morji on Friday. 4,127 olive Ridley turtle hatchlings have been released in the sea at Morji since December 2021. In the month of April, 126 turtle hatchlings were released in the sea. Sagun Gowde for Herald TV.
The mesmerizing voice of Lorna still captivates audiences. Lorna Cordeiro gave yet another scintillating performance at the Spirit of Goa Festival 2022 at Kampal, Panjim. The large crowd was treated to some fabulous Lorna and Chris Perry classics at the festival, such as Tuzo Mog, Sorga Rajent, Sopon and other numbers. Listen to some of these Lorna classics.
Lorna Cordeiro gave yet another scintillating performance at the Spirit of Goa Festival 2022 at Kampal, Panjim. The large crowd was treated to some fabulous Lorna and Chris Perry classics at the festival. Lorna sang some classics at the festival such as Tuzo Mog, Sorga Rajan, Sopon and other numbers.
In a joint inspection by Perane Police and Captain of Ports, 31 canoes were seized for allegedly being involved in illegal sand extraction. The canoes were found on the river bank at Naibag, Porsakade. This is the second such raid conducted in last 1 week, after the High Court came down strongly on the authorities for not stopping illegal sand extraction. The last time around 26 canoes were seized. Herald TV had exposed the illegal sand extraction by reporting from the ground recently.
31 canoes allegedly involved in illegal sand extraction seized in a second raid in Tirakal River. The canoes were found on the river banks at Naibag, Paraskare. This is the second such raid conducted in the last 1 week after the High Court trap.
A joint raid has been held with the Captain of Ports, and the information which we received from the sources and the Captain of Ports. Again, we held a raid over here at Naibag, Paraskare. And total altogether 31 boats. I mean, that our entire boat was it is not in the river. इट इज बँक ऑफ द रिवर सायडीन सगळ्यो वयर काडलेल्यो आसा. टोटल 31 आसा. ती व्हेरिफिकेशन कॅप्टन ऑफ पोर्ट चालू आसा तेंगेलें. एंड वेदर इट इज रजिस्टर ऑर नॉट इट इज देयर ते अंडर तेच्या प्रोविजना प्रमाणे ते व्हेरीफाय करतले. नाव एंटायर बोट्स हॅज बीन हँडेड ओवर टू अस फॉर द गार्ड एंड अकॉर्डिंग टू दॅट आमी हांगा पुलीस लायता.
परतून आमी जशें सांगलेले फाटीं आमी खरेंच कारवाई करतले जे खरेंच हांगा इल्लीगल आसा जाल्यार पळोवपाक. तशें कांय ना, कित्याक आमी आज आमची कॅप्टन ऑफ पोर्टाची बोट घेवन आयिल्ले आसा हांगर. जर उदकान जर भोंवत जाल्यार थंय आमकां बोटी गावूंक ना उदकान. तेन्ना आमी पळोवंक गेल्यार सगळे वयर काडलेल्यो आसा. आतां वयर काडलेलो आसा ताका लागून आमी ह्या जाग्यार आतां 31 व्हडयो धरल्या, 31 व्हडयो धरल्या हांगर आतां. आनी त्या व्हडयांक कितले जाणांक नंबर आसा, रजिस्ट्रेशन पेपर आसा ते चॅक करपाक लागून आमी कारवाई केल्या. तो पर्यंत आमी आज ह्या पुलीस सांगले तांकां हँडओवर करतले आनी ज्यांच्या कडेन कोणा कडेन पेपर आसा तेंच्यांनी दाखोवचे.
Ashmita Polji for Herald TV.
Locals have complained of illegal construction on the hill of Morjim. The complainant stated that hill is cut and construction of road and building is carried out on the hills of Morjim without obtaining necessary permission. The illegal construction is going on, and even after filing complaint to the local panchayat, Morjim Panchayat failed to respond to the complaint as well as failed to act on the illegal activity.
Locals have complained of illegal construction on the hill of Morjim. Road and building construction is carried out on the Morjim hills without obtaining necessary permission. Morjim Panchayat failed to act on the complaint and the illegal activity.
ही जी प्लेस तुम्ही पळयतात ह्यो डोंगर भाग हा मोरजेचो, जे की हांगासर काजूची शेती बीन करतात. हांगासर लोकांनी इलिगल कन्स्ट्रक्शन चालू केला. याची कंप्लेन हांवें पंचायतीक घातला. तरी पण म्हाका अजून पर्यंत इन्स्पेक्शन रिपोर्ट, इन्स्पेक्शन सायट विजीट कांयच जावंक ना. आणि म्हाका ते रिटर्न काय दिवंक सुद्दां हांवें रिटर्न तांकां म्हटलें रिटर्न रिप्लाय दियात. अजून ते नांवाच सांगना, डिक्लेअर करिना. ही खंयची तरी इंजिनियरींग एजन्सी आहा तेंच्यांनी करून घेतला रस्तो. ह्यो फूल सकयल्यान डांबरीकरण ह्यो रस्तो केल्ला, दोंगर खणला, जे की प्रोबेबली हे परमिशनूच ना हांकां आनी अलाउड सुद्दां ना दोंगराचेर ह्यो रोड. तरी पण ते विथआउट परमिशन ही कामां चालू आहात आनी पंचायत न्हिदला. पंचायतींनी सांगपाचें की बाबा तेंचे कडेन जायना जाल्यार बाबा आमी करता, कित्याक आमकां तर ह्यो गांव राखूंक जाय. आनी अशे जे हांगासर एक काही प्लॉट्स आहात तेतून बंगले आहात. म्हाज्या म्हायतीनुसार तो एरिया जो सँक्शन जाला 4000 स्क्वेअर मिटरान पर फार्म हाऊस ह्यो रूल आहा कायदो. तर त्या एका 4000 स्क्वेअर मिटरान 3 बंगले बांदला, 3 फार्म हाऊस. आणि असे काहीच गजाली घडतात मोरजेन की हेतून फार्म हाऊसाचे परमिशन घेतात, प्लॅन एक दाखयतात, TCP मागीर तांकां ऑक्युपन्सी विथआउट प्लॅन व्हेरीफाय करनासता ऑक्युपन्सी दितात. आमकां रूल कायदो सांगा, आमी वयता आमचे फुडें. जायना जाल्यार जायना म्हणून सांगा पंचायतीन.
Ashmita Polji for Herald TV.
The Chikali Biocrusaders have termed the VASCO ODP 2030 as illegal and demanded that it has to be completely rewritten to remove the illegalities. They underline that C1 zones have been shown in many places in Chikali, even when C1 zone is to be located in Central Business District, which is a municipal area. Meanwhile, senior state-level architect has said one has to see how the suspension of the ODP will play out and what are the ground rules for reviewing the plan.
Chikalim Biocrusaders have supported suspending of the outline development plan. Chikalim Biocrusaders point to major illegalities in the VASCO ODP 2030. Chikalim Biocrusaders demand rewriting the entire ODP. Central government property has been shown as residential area. Khazan has been shown as industrial area. Biocrusaders said and brought this to the notice of the TCP minister when they met him. Khazans have also been made into residential areas, they pointed out.
You cannot have C1 zones. As per this regulation is very, very clear that C1 zones cannot be, C1 zones are only to be in central business district. That means in municipal area. Now if you go to see, everywhere on the plan there are C1 zones. Even if you look behind me here, where you can see that jungle cut, that is all a C1 zone. Ground plus 7 buildings will come up there by destroying all this forest. Plus, it's a no development slope. It's a steep slope. So, like this, such things cannot come up here. It is not possible because it's a violation of the regulation itself. These are the regulations. This extract is from here. So, it is not what I am saying. It is the government who is saying. So, by violating all these regulations, this MPDA has notified this plan 2030, ODP 2030, which is totally illegal. Hence, we find that the decision of the minister to relook into this ODP 2030 and if necessary, rewrite the entire ODP is in the right direction. And we really support his. He also proposed that this is a Kazan zone. It is under CRZ regulations. You cannot have it as a Kazan zone. It should be withdrawn. That too was not taken care of. Then there are so many no development slopes which are there, which the slope is more than 25%, which is not permissible in the regulations to have any development. So even in those those zones, they have given settlement zones. So in spite of the member secretary, who is the only technical person on the board, giving his opinion and his directions, the board has totally rejected and bulldozed his opinion and done whatever they want.
आणि आमी हो डिमांड घेवन गेल्ले की वास्कोचो ODP जो टोटली इल्लिगल आहा तो तांणी ताबडतोब स्क्रॅप करचो म्हूण आमी ताका एक मेमोरंडम बी दिल्लो त्या दिसाक आनी इन डिटेल आमी सगळी एक्सप्लेन केल्ली आहा ह्या मेमोरंडमान सगळी लिस्ट आउट करून की कितें कितें इलिगॅलिटीज ह्या ऑथॉरिटीन आमच्या ह्या ODPन केल्ले आहा त्यो आनी आमी ऑब्जेक्शन हाडूनय बी तेणी आमचे आयकून घेवंक ना पूण ओवररूल केले आमी एक पावर पॉयंट प्रेजेंटेशन बी दिली ताका त्या दिसाक आनी कंप्लिटली आख्खोय ODP हो दाखयलो आनी ह्या ODPन जे इलिगॅलिटीज आमी ताका हांगा सगळे एक्सप्लेन केल्ले जशें तुमकां दिसतलें एक सेंट्रल गव्हर्मेंटान जमीन एक्वायर केल्ली आहा ती PDN थिंगा रेजिडेंशियल म्हूण केल्या चिखलेंत आमच्या एक खाजान आहा तें काजान तेणी इंडस्ट्रियल म्हूण केलां सो दुसरें म्हणल्यार आमची पळय इकोसिस्टम काजनाचेर आहा ते टोटली तेणी रेजिडेंशियल केल्या.
Senior architect Tulio de Souza has said in principle suspending the ODPs looks good, but the more important questions are how do we go ahead? What are the ground rules for reviewing? On what basis will area which are zoned be discarded or new areas added? We cannot pass the same projects.
But I am worried is how do we go ahead with this current ODP that has been suspended? Because ultimately in 60 days time, which is the period during which the ODP has been kept suspended, the ODP will come back. So what is the ground rules that have been placed or put in place for reviewing this ODP? Because it should not be that you come back and the ODP is back to square one. First, we need to set some ground rules in place. On what basis either some areas which have been zoned in a current ODP will be discarded, deleted, or new areas will be added. What are the ground rules? What are the basic, the data that has been put in place or the data that has been collected while doing the basic land use under the section 26 of the Town Planning Act.
That's all we have in today's news bulletin. Thanks for watching Herald TV News. For more news alerts, please follow us on O Heraldo on Facebook and Twitter. Take care and goodbye.